Hi there, my name is Kay Moon, and I'm a twin flame channel and Western astrologer. And this is a video about the new moon in Pisces that occurred on Saturday, March 13th, 2021 at 5:21 a.m. If you happen to be on the eastern seaboard of the United States, please check a time zone converter for your local time. Thank you so much for choosing to click on this video and for all of the likes, shares, and subscribes over time. I deeply appreciate it. In case you missed it, there is a celebration going on right now as the channel has grown to hit a milestone that I never anticipated we'd hit, the 15,000 subscriber milestone. And as a way of saying thank you, I have made my most popular course, Star School, available for you for a very special price through this Friday, March 19th. The Star School course is an opportunity, Astro Basics, to better get to know yourself and a loved one through astrology. Its workbook is set up to give you exercises that will better help you illuminate why you are the way you are and what you need in order to be successful in every area of life. And if you have a divine counterpart or a child or a loved one that you'd like to get to know better, you can complete the workbook for them as well. This special pricing for 111.11 for Star School 101 is only available through Friday. So make sure you grab it now if you want it. After that, Star School goes back into the vault until sometime in the fall, I believe, when I'll re-release it. There's also the bonus bundle available at this time for $33.33. So for the people who enrolled early in Star School back in November, I offered them an opportunity to grab a special bonus bundle that included 3 special reports for them. And I'll just show you what they are now in case you'd like to get access to them. This bonus bundle comes with the guide to retrograde planets. So if you've ever wanted to better understand what a retrograde means, the interpretation for retrograde, and how it's different than a planet moving direct, the length of time of retrogrades, how frequently a planet will go retrograde, and their interpretation, you'll find all of that in the guide to retrograde planets. The second half of 2021 is a very retrograde heavy part of the year. So you'll definitely want to get your hands on that so you can plan and know how to use those energies instead of feeling blindsided by them. You'll also get the 2021 retrograde report where I go in depth about what the retrograde planetary energies for this year mean specifically, because there's a general meaning, but then as we get into each retrograde in real time, those planetary energies unfold in different signs. They unfold having conversations with other planets. And so each retrograde is always very unique. And the 2021 retrograde report details how to utilize this year's retrograde energy to assist you in moving it through home, work, or love. And then you'll also get the divine counterpart union schedule. So for the last 50 years and the next 30 years, I have mapped out when Juno and Jupiter meet one another in the sky. Those are the 2 planets I read as divine counterparts, so that you can better understand the history of your connection. And this will be wonderful for those of you who've been in connection 10 years or more, 5 years or more. And you'll have an understanding of where things are headed. So this report will be useful to all twin souls and divine counterparts. In the bonus bundle, you'll receive the 3 guides that I just mentioned. You also get 3 video overviews for each guide, 1 overview per guide to help you understand how to utilize the information in that guide. And then I decided to do something special for those of you who are doing the bonus bundle. I wanted to give you the opportunity to jump on the illumination call, which is a special Q&A opportunity where you can ask me anything you'd like about the Star School bonus bundle, Star School class questions, or just astrology in general. If you'd like to chat with me, you can do that. It's all together for $33.33, and that Q&A call is this Wednesday, March 17th. So if you get the bonus bundle after March 17th, you will be receiving the recording of that Q&A call because it is one time only. So make sure that you grab it now if you know you want the opportunity to ask questions live and in real time. Star School itself comes with 4 pre-recorded classes available for you to listen and learn at your own pace. If you've never looked at a chart before and you're just like, I don't even understand how this works, what am I looking at? The first class, houses, signs, and planets, will break all of that down for you. There's also a special handy guide in the front so that you can quickly reference exactly what the symbols mean. You'll get a class on how to read your chart. So you'll be able to start reading your own chart as soon as the second class. And in addition, on class 3, I'll go in depth about the aspects and axes of the zodiac wheel. So many times you've heard me on these videos talk about a square, a conjunction, opposition, a sextile. In that third class, you'll understand what each of these things mean, and it'll better help you understand what's going on astrologically in real time for you and for your counterpart as planets move through the sky. And so will the final class, interpreting transits. This is the class that's all about looking at what's coming and how to know what's coming so that you can work with the energies in a way that's helpful for you and you know how to be helpful to someone special in your life. Star School 101 also comes with 4 90-minute to 120-minute office hours recordings. It is a recording only class, so there is no live Q&A. That's why it's only 11111. You get to access to all the ways I've illuminated the material in the past and a deeper understanding of the material, as well as a full color 26-page PDF workbook that you can download and work through your own chart at your leisure. It's also helpful. I've noticed many of my students have come back to me and said, I filled out that section of the workbook or this section of the workbook for my divine counterpart, and I finally understand why they communicate the way they do or what it is they need in relationship or who they really are as a person. And it's helped me to gain so much more compassion and patience in my connection. And that's what it was really designed to do, to assist you in standing in your connection in greater love. So if you want to do that, the opportunity to do so is available only through Friday, March 19th. The link is going to be directly below this video. After Friday, March 19th, this goes back into the vault. It may become available again in the fall. Dates yet to be determined. So if you know you've been hankering to get in on the Star School action, now is your time. You can grab one Star School. You can grab Star School and the bonus bundle, or you can just get the bonus bundle if you want. It's up to you. I've made it completely flexible so that you can do one or the other or both. Just make sure you do it soon so that you don't miss out on the access to that Q&A call if you just want the bonus bundle, or you don't miss out on access to Star School because it does go back into the vault after Friday. So thank you again for celebrating with me. It's such a pleasure to be able to read the stars for each of you during these periods of time at each lunation. And I'm excited to talk about this particular lunation for all of us. So for those of you who have been around for a long time or since last year, I did a very special, what is it called? It was a video specifically about the Sagittarius Gemini eclipse cycle. I'll also make sure that's linked below this video as well. This particular eclipse cycle is an eclipse cycle of significant change. And this particular new moon in Pisces is part of that significant period of change for all of us. The Sag Gemini eclipse cycle, Sagittarius and Gemini, where the nodes sit, this Sagittarius, Gemini, and then Pisces, these are three of the four mutable signs, the fourth mutable sign being Virgo. Mutable energy is all about shifting from one thing to another. It's the shapes shifting season of the seasons of the year. You get four opportunities to move and to shape shift. And Pisces season is one of them. So if you recall in those videos, I talked about understanding that when we move from one season to the next, what we have is energy from the preceding season. Then we'll have energy from the season we're headed into. But then sometimes we revert back and we have energy from the preceding season again before we get to the final landing point at the next season. Because this is the way mutable energy works, mutable weather works, mutable signs work, they kind of go with the flow. They do whatever's called for. This particular passageway, this new moon in Pisces, is giving us the opportunity to leverage a lot of what has happened in the past to make a clean break into a very new future. It's giving us the opportunity to detox and purge some of the things from the past that we would like to let go of so that we can make space for a new future. This particular new moon in Pisces occurred right here at the 23rd degree of Pisces, and it is definitely still Pisces season, my friends. So this energy will be in effect. It was conjunct Neptune and Venus, and this is very auspicious in particular ways for relationships, and I'll get to that in a minute. Sextiling the planet Pluto here and squaring Juno in Sagittarius here. All of this is talking a lot about relationships, partnerships, and where we've been in those relationships and partnerships. There's a big theme here around surrender, but there's also surrendering. The theme about surrender has a lot to do with surrendering in order to move into breakthrough. The only way to get to the breakthrough is to surrender to where there has been breakdown. There's a very dreamy, lovelorn, spiritual energy to this particular new moon because of Neptune and Venus's conjunction with the new moon. Neptune creates a dissolving, it connects us to the spiritual world, it thins the veil, but it can also, if we're not careful, lead to illusion and deception. Venus, glue, love, bonding, values. Venus talking to Neptune brings us into the higher spiritual octave of what Venus is all about. Venus in the mundane sense really represents, things that we value. It can represent love or money, but when she's talking to Neptune in this way, we get the opportunity to climb up several octaves and look at things from a much more spiritual perspective. There's in this particular lunation, we are starting to get the huge difference between actual love and attachment. We're getting the difference between commitment versus convictions of the heart. I could be committed in the marriage that I'm in, but my heart could be convicted over here in my divine connection with someone else. I could be committed to working this particular job, but my heart could be convicted to move into my passion and my light work. This particular new moon is illuminating those distinctions for us so that we have an understanding of the path we need to walk as we move through the rest of 2021. There's also an opportunity here for deep feeling, deep sentimentality, a deep sense of where our love bonds really stand in our heart and in our life, and an illumination of that for many of us on planet Earth at this time. So the Plutonian influence here brings a different layer, though, because Pluto is sextile in this energy. Some of what is also illuminated are places where we've had power struggle, power games, manipulation, some of our biggest fears running our show, as well as addictions, specifically when you've got Neptune and Pluto in conversation. We're also talking a bit about addiction as well. And there are several other energies during this new moon that are giving us the opportunity to finally break free. This is an addiction breaker transit if there ever was one. And I'll talk more about how that all plays out here. But if you've been struggling in any capacity with addictive habits and behaviors or addictive thoughts specifically, there's this particular passageway is an opportunity for you to lay those things to rest once and for all, and get support if you need to break free. I'll be talking a bit about resources you can use momentarily, because there's a very real physiological difference in the brain scans of people who have struggled with addiction than the brain scans of people who have not. So if this is something that you've been working on, you really want to break free from, I'll be linking resources below the video and talking more about it in the moment. But this is why I've called this particular new moon period being on the brink of breakthrough, because this really is a precipice energy where you may go back a little bit, but the direction we're headed into is the next season. And going into that next season, you may see little inklings of the last season before we finally pop through on the other side. Okay. So that's the big energy in the headline for this particular new moon in Pisces. If this is something you know for yourself, you want to work through, you can always book a personal reading with me. Links for that are also below this video, and the calendar for the beginning of April is definitely open. So we also have a couple of other energies here. We've got Mars preparing to cross over the North Node. And this is also what gives us that on the brink of breakthrough energy. You'll see here that the majority of the planetary energies are over here on the left side of this chart. There's very few things going on the right side. Most of it is sitting on one side of the North Node, South Node axis. This is what has caused so much of the major planetary difficulties among human beings. And all of this energy clustered here on one side of the nodal axis last year, when we had the pandemic begin. Now we're about to see some of the energy break. We saw a break a little bit in the summer last year when Mars popped out on the other side of the North Node the first time. Now Mars is going to pop out on the other side of the North Node the second time this spring, so that we'll have the opportunity to feel a little bit of reprieve and rechart a new course, a post-pandemic course forward. If you're curious about the details of the astrology for the pandemic, there is a list, a playlist that I created called Astrology of 2020 in the playlist for the channel. You can always go back and listen to that. Lots of astrological detail there. But what we're waiting for here is Mars to get past this North Node so that at least one planetary energy is on the other side. Because when they crowd like that on one side, we end up getting a lot of difficulties for humans on planet Earth. And once Mars pops out, we'll start to see a lot of relief. And we can already feel that building Now, especially after we got that huge burst of new energy at the new moon in Aquarius, I talked about that at that new moon. And we've got this burst of energy here as well, now that Mars is going to flow through into fully into Gemini and on the other side of that North Node. This particular energy is cultivating a lot of busyness. There's a lot of new energy, new information, new insights, and Mars specifically is providing impetus to do something with it. And that's the real gift here is Mars being motivation energy, preparing itself to have a harmonious conversation with the energy in air sign Aquarius. This is going to assist and facilitate quantum leap forward opportunities for all of us here on planet Earth. And you may already start to see this in your life, that your life is starting to pick up, get busier, new ideas, new ways of operating are flowing in your life at this time. Your life is starting to pull you forward. A lot of the stagnation energy of 2020 is starting to break up at this time. So this may actually feel more like the new year than anything we've had prior to this, which is very, very exciting. And then we have this energy of Uranus, the change bringer, right here at the 8th degree of Taurus, moving into sextile with Nessus. So Nessus is an energy that a lot of astrologers don't talk about. However, I do because my software provides it. But I also wanted to kind of talk about this is part of why there is addiction breaker energy here. Nessus, the energy of Nessus has a lot to do with obsession, loss of control, compulsion, the capacity to lose oneself to one's, better angel, lower demons, sort of. And then the capacity to kind of get lost in something and give oneself over to something, but in a way that's unhealthy and imbalanced. Because Uranus, the change maker, is getting closer and closer and closer to Nessus. We're already starting to feel some of this energy. And this is an energy that's long term. So if you have been over the long haul wanting to alleviate or ameliorate an addiction, you know you need to check into rehab in some kind of way or you need counseling or group support. This particular year, the whole year, is a great time to start to lay down the foundation for releasing those behaviors, those patterns. It doesn't even have to be, a chemical or a substance addiction. It could be a thought form addiction. We can be addicted to negative thinking or addicted to the process of, constantly, not berating ourselves, but berating other people. We can have addictive behaviors in that way that really hinder our ability to step into light and to operate in love with ourselves and with other people. And this whole year, as Uranus inches closer and closer, it'll go retrograde, but then it'll inch closer to Nessus. This whole year is the game. The stage is set for us to begin the process of breaking down those patterns and those behaviors, those thoughts, etc. This also is interestingly echoed because Uranus is right now in tight square with the planet Saturn. Saturn really governs a lot of our habituated, boundaried, and structured activities. So, if you have the kind of, behavior where it's like, no, I always do this thing and I wish I could do it. Let's say it's gambling. I wish I could stop. Uranus talking to Saturn in this way and moving closer and closer to conversation with Nessus by sextile. This is an opportunity where there is a huge pattern interrupt. huge opportunity to break free, new information flooding in, new behaviors, new thought forms, new opportunities to be in community with people who are working on ending the same addiction. So if you've ever wanted to join AA or something else like it, OA, fill in the blank, this is your time. We also have Chiron sextiling Saturn here. So here's Chiron down here in conversation with Ceres, and here is Saturn. So it's interesting because as we look at Saturn and Chiron having that conversation together, this is definitely an opportunity to look at some of the woundedness and our own habituated patterns, but specifically from the sign of Aquarius, which is about the mind in part and some of the ways we've tried to grow. And then Aries, the sign of the self, this is really about some of our thinking and getting new opportunities in our thinking to release some of the woundedness that's been there, that we've just kind of dragged around with us. Some of the ways in which we've kind of maybe not self-sabotage, but the way we've kind of repeated a mantra to ourselves that we're not able, not capable, not worthy, not good enough. Fill in the blank with whatever your not is. This Chiron sextile to Saturn from these two signs, specifically Aquarius and Aries, is giving us the opportunity to start to clean up a lot of that and start the process of thinking in new ways, so that we can behave in new ways. There's also a grand trine here between Mars. Here's Mars here in Gemini. Grand trine between Mars. Here's Saturn here in Aquarius. And then here's the Shaman's asteroid out here in Libra. And we have a grand trine energy where they're all 120 degrees apart. This gives us the opportunity, especially as Mars progresses, this gives us the opportunity to have the motivation we need to take on our healing journey, the motivation we need to take on transformation and change, and the motivation to strive towards our own wholeness and our own integrity. That's what Saturn's all about, is how do we get back into wholeness? How do we get back into integrity? And that Shaman's asteroid there is about that long journey that we need to take in service to our higher self and our tribe and our community. When you put all of this together, one of the things I've been doing a lot of research about this lately for various reasons in my own life. And I'm a huge fan of Dr. Daniel Amen's work. I don't know if you're familiar with Dr. Daniel Amen, but I'll link some of his most salient and relevant works below. But he's the psychiatrist that did a lot of brain scans on his patients to find out why are some people different about addiction, about being bipolar, about being depressed, about all these different diagnoses. How are some people different and other people are the same? And what he discovered when he actually looked at thousands of brain scans is that brains that have had trauma, or brains that have had addiction, or brains that are bipolar, or brains that have struggled with depression, they are literally shaped different ways that can be seen on the scans. And then he went about the business of figuring out from a nutritional perspective precisely which things are required to get the brain back to restored balance and whole state. If you can restore the brain at the chemical level, literally the physiology of the brain's operation, you can heal almost anything. And that's a diagnosed psychiatric problem. So specifically, this transit is talking about addictions, but addiction is something he goes in depth with. If you want to be able to heal an addiction, you get the opportunity to with this transit, and his work will help you understand how to heal the brain so that you can make new choices and get free of a lot of the compulsion. So I'll link his work below. Again, his name is Daniel Amen. It's spelled Amen, like amen. But he's got a YouTube channel, and him and his wife Tana do great work on the YouTube channel. I highly recommend you checking him out. Going forward with the energies here, we also have Jupiter conjunct Mercury. That's the expansion of mind, thought, communication, but in the world of quantum leap forward, because that's what Aquarius represents: revolution, change, quantum leap forward. But it is also sextiling that South Node Juno conjunction here. And we know that sextiles bring energy together. They're harmonious when we're willing to do the work. Because Juno is doing a retrograde dance with the South Node this year, a portal opens up in the arena of relationship for certain relationship information, energy to begin to flow through for us. And I'll get more in depth in the video about this particular new moon for twin souls. But this is an opportunity where you may find that you reclaim certain things from your past this life, past life, not in this incarnation, certain information, especially during this time period, that can facilitate and assist you with that healing process. Those things can come forward at this time: information for learning, ways in which you might get restored to wholeness from things that had previously not been whole, could get restored during this time. But you may also just find at the most basic mundane level, certain people from your past that you had been in partnership with, business or romantic, resurface between now and June, and they're coming back for final resolution. Whether that final resolution be, oh, wow, we actually do make a great team. We just had to grow a bit. Let's try a new business in a different direction now that we're grown. Or it could be, you know what? I never said this. And in order for me to really forgive, let this go, I have to say it. You may get some of that. You may also get people who resurface, romantically, whom, you didn't think it was going anywhere, but now is the time for it to go somewhere because both of you are in very different stages of life. So all of this could happen between now and June as Juno enters shadow and has this conversation with the Mercury just went retrograde. There could be some new pieces of communication that begin to come forward. Okay, so the last energy here that seems really important to share. And if you're wanting to look at relationship stuff, we can just book a session. We can book a session to look at some of that. The link for booking sessions is below this video. The last energy that seems important to share, because this energy has been coming up a lot in the previous lunations. There's a great clearing, a grand clearing of our matrilineal lines that's opening up at this time. So clearing of the matrilineal line with Ceres conjunct Chiron in the way that it is, this is talking about cleaning up woundedness around motherhood, mothers, and mothering. So if you've got an issue with your mom, wounding as a mother, you've been abandoned as a mom, in certain ways, or you became a mom and you never thought you would, or you want to be a mom, but that path just hasn't opened up in this lifetime. Whatever woundedness there is in the arena of mothers, mothering, being a mom, not being a mom, whatever you've got on mom, this period of time is going to open that up for you to begin to heal that, whatever that wounding is for you. And by healing it, I'm talking about, number one, the wound's going to come up so you can see it. So you're probably going to re-experience it, re-feel it again, whatever it is. Then number two, you'll have the opportunity to start to see, okay, what's the root of this? What is the root in the arena of the matrilineal line that I need to deal with? Maybe it's not even mine, right? Maybe this has something to do with, my own mother and her own ways that, she felt abandoned by her mother. So she doesn't know how to be emotionally available to herself. How can she give me something that she can't give herself? If it's not in the roots, it won't be in the fruits of that tree. So that kind of, you may need to go back in time to understand how your mother's mother was with her, to understand why your mother, it was the way she was with you. All of that is up for healing during this first part of the year with Ceres and Chiron speaking together. Ceres in particular talks about the estrangement of mother from child and the woundedness that has to do with when the child is not available for the mom, not available, has been taken from the mom. That's what I meant to say. And the woundedness the mom feels when the child leaves home, when the child's no longer available. And so there may be a need to heal some of that if you're, a mom with adult children and those children are starting to spread their wings. This may be one of those periods of time where the work for you has to do with letting them, relinquishing control, surrender, especially in the ways that you need to self-differentiate, because here's Aries, all of this is going down in the sign of the self, and allow your identity to be your own, as opposed to needing to derive a part of your identity from your children. This is a period of time where you're being asked to take a look at how to walk your own path and let your child walk theirs. So this is a huge energy going on that's especially loud during this period of time. So if there's stuff to work on there, definitely do so. And then I guess the last thing that seems important to talk about here is the way that Jupiter is now pulling away from Saturn. So this energy here, Jupiter and Saturn conjunct since last December, has felt a little bit like one foot on the gas, one foot on the brake at the same time in the vehicle, where it's like, I want to go forward, but I'm also stuck and slowed down. I'm ready to charge forward, but there's a wall, there's a block. I can't really move. Because Jupiter is starting to pull away from Saturn and is now 10 degrees apart, we're starting to feel their energies more separately again, more individuated. Saturn wants us to gather ourselves into integrity. Saturn wants us to remove anything that's compromising our wholeness and our ability to do our light work, be who we really are. Jupiter wants to expand, give opportunity, give us the opportunity to stretch and grow. And especially in the sign of Aquarius, Jupiter is about bringing that lightning fast change to your circumstances so that you can move forward into the next highest evolution of your life and love. Because these two are now further apart than they've been in months, we're going to start to see things pick up in our lives. There's going to be a breakthrough more and more and more as Jupiter begins to move forward in the arena of how our lives are unfolding. And that's going to start to feel really good for a lot of people who have been stuck. A lot of the waiting is now over. So if you've been wanting to take charge, take a new step, this new moon in Pisces and new moons going forward from here, they're all great opportunities to start the process of allowing new things into your life, making new steps, moving, relocating, whatever it is for you that's on deck for new for 2021. The doorway is now opening for you to walk through. If you want to have a look at all of that, we can certainly do that in a private reading. Just head on over to kmoonastro.com, pick the personal readings, and we'll go ahead and set that up for you. I'm so happy that you've taken the time to listen, watch, share, like, and subscribe. It means so much to me that you have found this much value in the work. And I look forward to either seeing you in Star School, in the bonus bundle, or in our own session, or right here back on YouTube again. Take great care and bye for now.